Good morning, students. Today we are going to start the next topic in chapter Molecular Basis of Inheritance. And today's topic is process of transcription and transcription unit. So in my previous lecture, I have taught you about the process of DNA replication, the various types of enzymes that are involved in the process of DNA replication. We have also learned about the experiment that was performed by the scientist Michelson and Stahl, and which proved that DNA replication is indeed semi-conservative in nature. So in today's lecture, we are going to study about transcription and transcription unit. So students, what is transcription? As I have already discussed in my previous lectures, that transcription is the process of formation, or you can say synthesis of messenger RNA from the DNA. As we all know, during the process of DNA replication, what happened? Two daughter DNA strands are formed. Similarly, in the process of transcription, DNA again opens, but here instead of any daughter DNA, here one messenger RNA is formed, and that messenger RNA is formed with the help of one of the strand of DNA, that is the first strand of DNA whose polarity is in the direction 3' to 5', and this messenger RNA later participates in the process of translation and it produces proteins with the help of many amino acids which join together. So transcription is a special type of process in which messenger RNA is formed with the help of only one strand of DNA. So here, as we know, the DNA helix open as usual, but not all the two strands of DNA, they behave as the template strand. Only the first strand of the DNA, whose polarity is in the direction 3' to 5', it actually acts as the template strand, and with the help of this template strand, a messenger RNA is formed. So here again, the enzyme which is involved in the process of transcription is DNA-dependent RNA polymerase. Before I proceed with the process of transcription, I want to tell you the various types of components that are present in a basic transcription unit. So students, there are three components or three regions that are present in a basic transcription unit. Number one is the promoter region. Second one is the structural gene, and third one is the terminator region. So student, one question generally comes in our mind that why both the strands of DNA do not act as template. So here the answer is, if both the strands of DNA they act as template, then with the help of these DNA strands, two daughter RNA strands are formed, and both of these RNA strands, they have bases complementary to each other, and as a result, what happened? These complementary RNAs, they join together and they form double-stranded RNA, so they can no more participate in the process of translation. And second thing is, if both the strands they act as template, then the RNAs, the two RNAs which are formed with the help of these two parental DNA strands, they also differ in the type of bases that are present on them, and because of these bases, different kind of proteins or amino acids are formed, and as a result, there is complexity in the genetic information. These are the two reasons why the two strands of DNA do not act as the template, and only one strand whose polarity is in 3' to 5' correction. It actually acts as a template for the synthesis of messenger RNA. Okay, students, I am going to proceed with transcription unit. So here I have told you, first reason is the promoter region. So promoter region is that region where the enzyme RNA polymerase actually binds, whose full name is DNA-dependent RNA polymerase. So here a special type of factor is present, and that factor which is present at the promoter region, it is actually known as the sigma factor. So this sigma factor helps RNA polymerase enzyme to bind with the promoter region. All right, and After this promoter region, a structural gene is present, and this structural gene, after the binding of the RNA polymerase with the promoter region, it flag over the DNA strand. It reads the bases that are present on the first strand of DNA, and on the basis of this, as the RNA polymerase enzyme, it following this structural gene, it attaches the complementary nitrogenous bases from the cell constitution. So later on, this structural gene, it finally reaches the terminator region. Here it comes in contact with another factor which is known as the Rho factor. So it associates with the Rho factors as well as the RNA polymerase. It also associates. As we know, it is an RNA polymerase enzyme. This means it causes the polymerization of the RNA. It generally bore the RNA strand. So as soon as it reaches the terminator region, it binds with the Rho factor. That means RNA polymerase. When binds with the Rho factor, then what happens? This RNA polymerase enzyme, it leaves the RNA strand, and this free RNA, which detaches from the RNA polymerase enzyme, it is actually known as the nascent RNA. And now this RNA polymerase enzyme, it gets binded with the Rho factor, and this is the process of transcription. All right, students. So this is the general idea how the process of transcription takes place in the cell. So these are the diagrams. Here, two strands of the DNA are visible to you. First strand whose polarity is in the direction 3' to 5'. It is actually behave as the template strand. It participates in the process of transcription. It behaves as a template for the synthesis of messenger RNA. That's why it is known as template strand by the scientist. Whereas the other strand of the DNA whose polarity is in 5' to 3' direction. This stands, though it do not code for anything, but the scientists call this strand as coding strand. Because all the references, all the things that are present in the first strand, template strand, promoter region, structural gene, terminator region, their location is specified on the basis of this second strand, which is not involved in the process of transcription and which is now called as the coding strand. So this coding strand is used for the purpose of giving reference of promoter region, terminator region as well as structural gene. So this is RNA polymerase enzyme, and how this RNA polymerase enzyme, it works for the synthesis of messenger RNA, that I will tell you in few minutes. Okay, student. So I'm going to discuss the process of transcription in case of prokaryotic organisms. As you know all students, that prokaryotic cells are generally such type of cells in which membrane-bound organelles as well as membrane-bound nucleus is absent. So this means the nuclear material or the genetic material is freely suspended in the cytoplasm. So here I am giving the example of a prokaryotic organism, and this is bacteria. So in case of bacteria, there are three types of RNAs which are generally involved in the process of transcription. Here messenger RNA is formed during the process. So this messenger RNA provides the template later for the process of translation. Second one is transfer RNA. This transfer RNA, it brings the amino acids and later constitutes proteins during the process of translation. And third one is a ribosomal RNA. So this ribosomal RNA, it acts as the structural and catalytic unit in the process of translation. As I have already told you that there is only a single DNA dependent RNA polymerase enzyme, and this catalyzes all transcriptions. That means transcription of all types of RNAs in the bacteria. Okay, students. Now this is the diagram which is given in our book, transcription in case of prokaryotic organisms. So here the process of transcription is divided into three steps. Number one, initiation. So initiation is actually the beginning of the process of transcription. Now what happened? The DNA dependent RNA polymerase enzyme comes and it binds with the promoter region. And here what he found? He found the sigma factor. So this RNA polymerase enzyme, it binds with the sigma factor at the promoter region. And as a result of this binding, the structural chain, it starts moving. And as soon as the structural chain start moving, the RNA polymerase enzyme also follows the structural chain. It pick up the various nitrogenous bases present in the free cell constitutions, and it also read the nitrogenous bases that are present on the DNA strand, first DNA strand, whose polarity is in 3' to 5' direction, and on the basis of this, it attaches the corresponding complementary strands. So in this way, the structural chain as well as the RNA polymerase enzyme, after doing polymerization for some time, and during this polymerization, RNA strand is formed. It carries this RNA strand, that is RNA polymerase enzyme, and reaches the terminator region. So here in the second step, we have elongation, that is the binding of the various nitrogenous bases according to the complementary rule by taking guidance from the template strand of the DNA, whose polarity is in 3' to 5' direction. And as soon as the structural chain as well as RNA polymerase enzyme, it reaches the terminator region, then there is a factor present at terminator region, and that is known as the Rho factor. So this RNA polymerase enzyme, it gets binded with the Rho factor. And the structural chain, it receives the signal for the ceasing of the transcription. RNA polymerase enzyme, it leaves the RNA strand and it gets binded with the Rho factor. So this free RNA is now known as the nascent RNA, and this is the step of termination of the transcription or ceasing of the transcription. So all of this process, it generally happens in the cytoplasm of the bacterial cell or prokaryotic cell, because here nuclear membrane is absent. So as soon as the messenger RNA or its synthesis takes place, half of the messenger RNA is here synthesized, and the messenger RNA that gets ready, it undergoes the process of translation. So here transcription and translation, they goes on simultaneously. How much messenger RNA gets ready, it involved in the process of translation, whereas there is synthesis of messenger RNA, which is also going side by side, because all the things are happened only in the cytoplasm. There is no demarcation between the nucleus and the cytoplasm in case of prokaryotic organisms. Okay, students. So this concept, that is genetic code, it was given by the scientist George Gamow. I will discuss about it later in the process of translation. But first I want to take the topic transcription in case of eukaryotes. As you all know, students, in a eukaryotic cell, a well-defined nucleus is present as well as membrane-bound organelles. If there is a well-defined nucleus, then this means this nucleus has its own nuclear membrane. Now what happened? Here the process of transcription, that is the synthesis of the messenger RNA, it takes place in the nucleus. And when this messenger RNA becomes ready, it becomes fully matured, its processing is already done, then that messenger RNA, it now crosses the nuclear membrane and reaches the cytoplasm, and where it founds the ribosomes. And the process of translation, I want to say, it later happens in the ribosomes with the help of ribosomal RNA, which here acts as the structural unit. All right, students, so I want to discuss the step of transcription in eukaryotes here. So again, there is one strand of DNA, that is 3' to 5' strand, and this strand, it behaves as the template strand. Again, there is not a single DNA dependent RNA polymerase. Instead of these, there are 3 RNA polymerase enzymes here. So RNA polymerase enzyme, which is known as RNA polymerase 1, it is involved in the formation of different type of ribosomal RNAs, which varies according to their densities. And these may be ribosomal RNAs of 28S, means 28 squared 1, then 18S and 5.8S. Here S is Squared-Work unit, that is the unit of the sedimentation coefficient, which is associated with the process of centrifugation. Okay, student, the second type of RNA polymerase enzyme, which is known as RNA polymerase 2, It is involved in the synthesis of precursor of the messenger RNA, which is actually known as the heterogeneous RNA or hnRNA. All right. The third type of messenger RNA, which is the third type. I'm sorry. The third type of RNA polymerase enzyme, that is RNA polymerase third. This RNA polymerase third is involved in the transcription of number 1, transfer RNA, number 2, small ribosomal RNAs, and number 3, small nuclear RNAs. So small ribosomal RNAs are known as srRNAs, and small nuclear RNAs are known as snRNAs. Okay, students. So when this precursor messenger RNA is formed, so this precursor messenger RNA is actually the messenger RNA that has both type of sequences in it. That means there are some of the coding sequences which are earlier known as exons, and some of the non-coding sequences are also there which are known as the introns. So here the processing of this messenger RNA takes place, and this process is known as splicing. What is splicing? Actually, it is the removal of the coding, it is the removal of the non-coding sequences and joining of the coding sequences. So here the coding sequences are exons and the non-coding sequences are the introns. So introns are removed and exons are joined. So this process is called splicing of the messenger. After splicing, there is another processing takes place in messenger RNA, and this step is known as capping of the messenger RNA. So here the capping starts at the 5' end of the messenger RNA. What happened? At the 5' end, methyl guanosine triphosphate is added. So methyl guanosine triphosphate, that is visible to you in this diagram. Here it is written small m, capital G, and 3 P's are there. So this is methyl guanosine triphosphate. Its addition takes place at the 5' end of the messenger RNA, and this process is called capping. And later in the third step, which is known as tailing, here what happens? So many 200 to 300 adenylate residues, they are added at the 3' end, and this is known as polyadenylation, or you can say it is known as tailing. So the heterogeneous RNA, or you can say the precursor messenger RNA, it undergoes 3 steps during the processing. Number 1, splicing, that is removal of the non-coding sequences and joining of the coding sequences. That means removal of the introns and joining of the exons, splicing. And now second one is capping, that is addition of methyl guanosine triphosphate, and tailing, that is addition of 200 to 300 adenylate residues. So after undergoing all these 3 steps, now this messenger RNA, which is earlier known as heterogeneous messenger RNA, now it converts into fully mature messenger RNA, and this fully mature messenger RNA finally comes out from the nucleus and it reaches the cytoplasm, or you can say enter the cytoplasm. It comes in contact with the ribosomes, and there they found the ribosomal RNA. So this ribosomal RNA, it plays a significant role in the process of translation. Here the ribosomes have 2 units. You know that smaller unit and larger subunit. The smaller subunit hold this messenger RNA, and this messenger RNA later behave as a template for the process of translation. So this is all about the process of transcription in case of the eukaryotes. So students, we have learned transcription in case of prokaryotes as well as transcription in case of eukaryotes. The basic difference here only is the process of transcription takes place. Translation as well as transcription both takes place simultaneously in case of prokaryotes, as there is no well-defined nucleus present or nuclear membrane is absent in case of prokaryotes. Whereas the process of transcription is highly regulated in case of eukaryotes. First, the messenger RNA gets ready in the nucleus, and later on this messenger RNA, after undergoing the process of processing, you can say, then enters into the cytoplasm, behave as a template in the ribosomes for the process of translation. That's all in today's lecture. Have a